This video has been produced to introduce some of the people who took part in the PDA project.
Your role as a PDA, how useful was the training for you?
I found the training really useful. It dealt more holistically with the whole aspect of teaching and pedagogy rather than, just concentrating on some of the E-features. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I particularly liked looking at the difference between the coaching and the mentoring, because for me that was really reflective for me and made me actually stop about my own approach to some areas.
Did you utilise any of the skills that were taught on the training day with the colleagues that you worked with? And is there anything that you would do differently next time?
Yes, I have used some of them, both directly with them and in my own personal approach to the team of tutors that I look after. It made me realise that what I do very much myself is mentoring rather than coaching, and understanding the difference between the two made me really stop and look at what I do. And I tend to find that I give, I'm a natural problem solver. I want somebody to give me the problem and I'll solve it for them. And I realised that perhaps by taking that approach, I was stopping them, from taking responsibility for making their own decisions and growing themselves.
Now, have you used the skills outside of the project, perhaps with some other people that you've worked with or in other situations?
It was good to actually take what we'd done and to discuss it through with my line manager, and enabling others to understand the difference, because I must admit, I didn't fully understand myself the difference between the two roles and how they could interject before being involved in the project. But this enabled me to have a clearer understanding and to actually sort of share that with others.
And do you think it was helpful to your colleagues that you worked with to create their eCPD action plans?
I think, being really honest, to begin with, they wouldn't say they found it helpful, because they were used to me answering and solving their problems. And by me turning around and trying to put it back onto them for the GROW model to say, what do you think you should, it was definitely helpful.
And has combining the role of e-guide and PDA worked for you?
For me, it's worked really, really well, I must say. Because I deal with a lot of tutors who are working in community settings who don't always have a lot of access directly to IT, or sometimes they are getting much better at embedding IT within their lessons and e-learning, but still sometimes when you're in that situation it's difficult for them to do. So it was really good to actually look at it holistically and to look at every area, not just concentrating on the e-learning aspect. I also used some of the resources that we looked at on the training day and took them and said, okay, I tailored them to suit our needs, to actually look at the whole of the teaching and learning area rather than just solely concentrating on the e-learning. And that really worked, and it led some of my tutors to really evaluate their own performance and say, yeah, you know what, I'm not using peer observation as much as I can, I'm not using as many different techniques within the classroom as I can. So it led to some really valuable discussions around the whole aspect of their teaching.
Is there anything else you can think of that you benefited from? Or?
I think it's always good to be involved in these type of projects, because it always helps to bring these things right to the front of your mind in an environment where we're all being challenged on so many different fronts. It's really good to think, and to just completely have that refresher and have that focus to think, yeah, I am really going to do this.